go. Good morning. Good morning. It's me, Rabbi Brian. This is the Saturday service. Today is September the 23rd, 2023, and it's a Saturday where I am right now. You might be watching this on YouTube or on something recorded, and it might be a different day. That's cool. And if you're interacting with me live, let me put up this screen. Here are all the people who are joining live by Zoom. If people would give a little bit of a wave, say hello, and I'll get back to my hello, people. Thank you for all joining. Yesterday was this is the week. We are in the week between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur right now, and hold on, there we go. This is the week between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It is a busy time for clergy folks. It's a season of renewal, a season of forgiveness, a season of reflection. And yesterday, and I thank you, so many of you who were at the service yesterday. We did a high holiday service yesterday here on Zoom, and then there was also another one last night here in Portland in Grant Park. And there were a number of people there, and that was a lovely experience. So welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. This is one of my favorite Saturdays of the year. So let me show you my outline for today.
What's that silver thing at the top?
That's my outline for today. And it was, I think, 3 years ago. It might have been more. I don't remember when this tradition started for today, but it was looking at, I'm planned out. I'm tapped. I don't want to run 2 services on Friday and then run a service on Saturday. That doesn't seem in concert with self-care and with it's just, that's too much. If I had to, I would. I don't want to, and I don't have to. And the reason I don't have to is because the people who are on the planning group, which often meets on Wednesdays, so in the Wednesday group, someone came up with the idea a few years ago of you guys presenting. And for the people who show up to the service on a regular basis, to do a little bit of the service in return and teach here's something that I've learned in the past bit, and to give a little refresher lesson. It's kind of like at the end of sometimes at the end of this regular Saturday service, I'll say, well, what'd you learn? And ask people to come back with a phrase that they're taking with them. And this is that, but just expand it out a little bit. And I'm stalling a little bit for my Wednesday group to feel like one of them might be at the ready. So while somebody else is presenting, I'll ask you, and even if you aren't in the Wednesday group, you're totally prepared to do this. First, let me remind you this. Last week, I think one of the greatest lessons that I gave happened. And it was when I was trying to write down the word, I wrote down the word forgiveness, and then I tried writing down the word apology, and I could not get the word apology to spell correctly. I had 2 P's. I think at one point I had 2 L's. It was just a mess. And you all, I said, I can't spell this word right now. And I said, I need some help. And the whole chorus of Zoom spelled out the word apology, and I wrote it down, and it worked perfectly. And it was this wonderful moment of, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm not pretending to be perfect. And you guys are all right and fine with me flopping. It didn't go well. And the same love that you all give me when I don't do things perfectly, I think you know inherently that you're deserving of the same grace. And so whoever speaks today, if it doesn't go perfectly, it's perfect. This is an idea I shared months ago, which is maybe, and I remember Rags had the best reaction to it, which was, can you imagine that the way to get an A is by getting a C. That the way to really achieve and to do really well is to not push yourself so hard. I spoke about this a little bit before the high holiday services when I said I over prepared for this service by hours. And at a certain point I said stop. And it's not that I couldn't keep doing work. It's that I know that a C is an A, that it's okay not to be perfect. So that being said, I'm going to ask some of you to share perfectly imperfectly something that you've learned. And if you haven't prepared something, maybe just think about here's something I learned at the Saturday service. It can be it can be, did you learn about these little stick figures? Did you learn about discernment and judgment? Did you learn what did you learn? I don't want to plant too many seeds. So let me ask brave Alex, who put their hand up. Alex, I'm going to put you up on the screen in a little box so we can all see you. Go ahead, Alex.
So I've learned obviously a ton of stuff from you over the years, but the one that I personally use a lot, and I've shared it with other people a lot, is the 5 levels of learning, right? I've talked about it at work. I've talked about it with people that I'm explaining stuff to, and for me that is a really really handy tool where you go from can't do it all to mastery. And then in between we have the do it being shown how, do it with hints from outside, and then do it from hints within yourself where you hint yourself, and also being very aware of when you're under stress, your ability to perform moves down a level or two. And I have found that tremendously useful and tremendously helpful. Wonderful. And so thank you for that.
You're welcome. Those are 5 stages of learning. And let me just, can I see your hands? Would everyone put your hand up for a second so I can see your hands? And I want you to go one at a time, and let's see if we all know these 5 stages. And if you don't, no shame. It just means you don't know them yet. That's fine. So what'd you call the thumb, Alex?
So the thumb is can't do it at all.
Can't do it at all. And you called the pinky?
And I call the pinky complete mastery.
Complete mastery. And what are the finger? Everyone in between. So if thumb is can't do it at all, do you know what the index finger is then?
So index finger is do it, with somebody, basically helping you and showing you how to do it.
Which, if you don't know the 5 stages, is what we're doing right now, which is doing it all together. You need a lot of help. So can't do it at all, need a lot of help.
Then the next one is you can do it with outside hints. So if I'm teaching somebody how to do it, I hint you, like, oh, okay, what's the next step? And then I offer just a hint.
And then the 4th step?
And then the 4th step is where you know it well enough that if you talk to yourself, you can remind yourself of the steps.
Wonderful. How many of you, keep your hands up, how many of you could do all 5 of those and recite back what the 5 are? Okay, and pull your hand down a little bit if you can. That's all right. And there was one other piece that you added in about that, Alex, that the thing about stress, and that's so important.
Oh, yeah. And then if you are under stress or under duress, wherever you are on this, on this spectrum, I guess, you're going to move down a level. So if you're at complete mastery and you're under stress, you might have to talk to yourself to remind yourself all the steps. If you're at the self hint stage and you're under stress, you might move down to somebody else needs to hint you.
Yeah.
But depending on the stress, you can move down 1 or even sometimes 2 levels depending on what's going on.
And do you ever find yourself standing at the kitchen sink talking to yourself?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, and that's often because we got knocked off of being able to do that self-talk in our heads. And all of a sudden now I have to verbalize out loud, I will not kill either of my children for not putting the dishes in the dishwasher.
Yeah, for me, where I see it happening a lot is I have an old, I have a classic Fiat Spider that is somewhat cantankerous. And I can drive stick shift very fluently. I have no problem driving stick shift. I've been doing it since I was a kid. But when my car, which I named Sophie, is feeling particularly crabby and stally, I'll find myself talking to myself, trying to reminding myself how to actually shift the gears in this
Right.
car, because if she's being crabby, she's hard to drive.
Talking yourself through it. Alex, thank you so much for sharing that. Does anyone have any, what else commentary have you applied? Oh, and there's Aunt Ellen. Aunt Ellen, so glad to see you. And look, honey, I have your picture right there next to all my diplomas. Mom gave me the picture from your party, so I decided to put it to good use.
Well, I'll have to give Mom another one.
Oh, I didn't realize I thought that one was for me special.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay, fantastic. Anyone have any other reflections, comments on the five? Hugh, you have your hand up. Is that on this?
No, I have another story for you. So
okay,
finish up the 5 stages first, Brian.
So anyone have anything else to add in about the 5 pieces of learning? But what a wonderful lesson. It's Lev Vygotsky. That was his teaching. He's a Russian Vygotsky. The 5 stages of learning. I'm going to... Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Just a very quick one on that. The experience, well, 2 things. One, the experience that I've always felt was important in religion of focusing on values and depth psychology as a central way to revivify, to allow religion to evolve. And I think this group has shown how it's done. I've theoretically have thought the manifestation of it is profound, very profound.
Tie me into the 5. You're speaking not necessarily of the 5 stages of learning.
Well, I'm leading into the 5.
Okay, go ahead. Help me in.
This is almost like a core teaching in psychology and in just life coping skills, and putting that at the center is phenomenal. And being in therapy as long as I have, and establishing friendships the way I have here and outside of this, has really fortified that trust and confidence in deepening friendships and relationships. And I think that's putting that emphasis in religion on the contractual relationship between human beings.
That's it.
Is so powerful, and the vertical issue of God and whatever belief is really private.
Right. But once we figure out this relationship here, how to deal with other people, I think this one takes care of itself.
Right, with respect and awareness of the multiplicity of human complexity.
Thank you, Michael. Let me add one other thing about the 5 stages of learning. Often we think when we tell somebody to do something that they know exactly what it is that we just taught them, and we forget that it's the 5 stages. Just telling them is not the same thing as them knowing how to do something. So let's leave the 5 stages for now, and we're going to jump over to Hugh. Hugh, what do you got? What teaching do you have to share with us?
Well, thank you, Brian, for the opportunity to share a story today. I'm glad you started the session with the stick figures, because I think about those stick figures a whole lot. And the metaphors that I use to label the stick figures, yours have what on them?
They can have any letters. I have a J and a D, but I've had O and F. But go ahead. What letters would you like?
So the metaphors that I use are stimulus and response, and it's basically another way of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But when something happens, what's the gap between the stimulus and my response to that stimulus? And I have my whole life struggled with having a body reaction to a stimulus and an immediate reaction without stopping and thinking about my reaction. I will, if somebody does something to me, I will react to it rather than stop and respond. So I've got a short story of something that happened this week, and there is in Canada this past week a national-wide rally. People gathered at city halls and various places across the country to protest sex education in school, helping children understand what transgender is and what human sexuality and that sort of thing. So there's a group within Canada, a conservative group, that decided to protest this. Really, it was just a cover. They just want to They just want to. I interpret it as homophobic.
Yeah,
Anyway, we don't need to get into the nitty gritty of that. But there was a large protest in the town that I live in, and so a group from our church wanted to get together with a whole bunch of other people to counter protest this.
Yeah.
And so I have a church signs which have Knox Waterloo Presbyterian Church and a cross on it with in a rainbow color, and it has God's love includes everyone. So members of my church, and there were like hundreds of people counter protesting with us. And at one point, the protesters had to walk by. They were changing location. They had to walk by where we were standing. So I was very close to the protesters. And I was standing there with my God's love includes everyone sign. And I was wearing my collar as well. I don't usually do that, but I wanted people to know that I was clergy. To let people know that well, there's a sense that churches are opposed to, homosexuality. Well, that's not true. Anyway, one man stopped some distance away from me. He was about 40, 50 feet away from me. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he gave me what I call the middle finger of fellowship. and my automatic reaction was to give him an even longer middle finger of fellowship. But I didn't. And I grew up with the sense that we should talk about ourselves in a positive light. This we need to, downplay. But I'm really proud of this because I had a stimulus and response moment. I thought about your stick figures, Brian, and I looked at this man and I gave him the peace sign.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And I thought this is what we need in our world right now. It's not us shouting at each other. It's us offering each other peace. And my reflection following, I don't share this with you to boost myself up. It's just that I've taken so long to learn how to do this. And I had this moment where I actually felt very pleased and proud that I was able to respond to an aggressive act in a peaceful manner. Yeah. And this community and what I've learned from this community has helped me immensely in that very slow and very sometimes painful learning. So I want to thank you, Brian, and I want to thank you, the whole community, for making these conversations, for making them central, and for giving us space to develop our spiritual lives in this way. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Hugh. Any comments on what Hugh has just, let's first all have a collective. Yeah, you go, Hugh. You got that. That was beautiful. So proud of you. And we don't have to be proud of you. You're proud of yourself, but extra, the whipped cream and cherry on top is there's this whole group of people who are inspired by what you just did. What a wonderful thing. So comments on Hugh's self, or comments on this idea and how you've applied this in your life of seeing that in between stimulus and response that there's a space. Do you have a comment on that?
Brian?
John?
Hugh used a couple of important words, and I think the second word on the R needs to be there. Stimulus and reaction versus stimulus and response.
Okay, I'm going to add a reaction.
What we do instantaneously with very little thought. Response is what we do, as Hugh did, after giving consideration to.
I like
the
that.
way to.
That it might naturally go stimulus into reaction, but what we want to do is we want to do something that's chosen, that is a response, not just a reaction. I like that.
Exactly.
I like that very, very much. Yeah. Thank you, John. Other thinkings and thoughts on the distance between stimulus and response, or the distance between reaction and response?
Patience with your.
Patience has a lot to do with it. It's that space. It's that unbelievably small space between the two, and it's seeing how large we can make it. Thank you, Jack. Go ahead, Maria.
I find that one really powerful for me as well. And in that space, I try to come up with, I mean, I have an immediate reaction, but I try to come up with alternative explanations.
Of
and
why? Explain what do you mean by
well, something happens, you know, I get cut off in traffic or something like that. And instead of just going to anger or calling them names, sort of thing, I just try to think of reasons why that might have happened.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah. So instead of just flipping them off in return, of taking a moment to be cerebral, to think about it, that's great. It's adding in that space. What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. Also, Hugh, what you pointed at, in that this is a slow process. It goes back to what Alex was talking about, this Vygotsky's stages of learning. This is not. It's not easy. It takes a lot of self hints until you get to the point where you're able to do it without having to think about it. But good job, Hugh.
I remember them. Anyone ever seen the movie What About Bob? This crazy comedy movie years ago. The thing that I love about that movie is Bob talks about taking baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. There's no miracle cures. It's about this long, arduous journey of tiny, tiny steps. I just love that metaphor.
Thank you. And I got a comment from our friend Spring Famous. I retrained myself to giggle and say a well-wish prayer when someone is road raging. I retrained myself. I think that's exactly where it is. It's in taking the reaction and turning it into a response. I retrained myself to giggle and say a well-wish prayer when someone is road raging. I think it makes me feel a little better too. Thanks for this group and reflection. Well, thank you for sharing, and thank you to all the people who are on Facebook and YouTube and on Twitch. We had 3 people, I think, accidentally stumble across us on Twitch last week, which is totally cool. So hello, people on Twitch.
Brian, I'm curious to know, Hugh, how much of what you said is going to be in tomorrow morning's sermon?
I'm not preaching tomorrow, but I'll save it for another time. I assure you.
Oh, good.
I'd love to hear it or read it sometime.
Thank you. Wonderful. Someone else. So this is the Saturday after the Saturday in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and the tradition in this group is that this is a day where the group teaches back things that you've learned. And I'm looking for a volunteer of what is something else. Maria, thank you for volunteering. What is something that you've learned?
Years newsletter you had talked about Tamakatri Roy, the meaning of communication
Roy.
in the.
Wait, slow that down, because that's a lot of letters for people to get. Tamakatri Roy spells out, give us the words.
The meaning of communication is in the response elicited regardless of intent.
Right, and that's a lot of words. Let me see if I can't get those on the screen. I apologize. Go ahead. You can keep talking while I'm fighting with the screen. Go ahead, Maria.
And I have committed that. I sent an email once and caused this huge fury, and you know, I had to re-explain myself. But I've been thinking about it a lot lately because of it being committed against me, and trying to be very aware of the words we are using when we're speaking to others. So I walk every morning in my neighborhood. I've been doing it for years. And some of my neighbors I know well, we stop, we chat, I pet the dog, sort of thing. Other people I just say hi to, and there's people I don't know at all. I don't know them at all. And so I've been walking a lot, and I've lost a lot of weight. And the people I know really well, say things like, keep cooking, sort of thing. You're walking, I can see that you're walking faster and further, that sort of thing. But lately I have had I had one woman stop her car in the middle of the street and tell me, wow, you've lost a lot of weight. And she went like this, right? You've lost a lot of weight, kind of thing. And I had another woman like just yell at me across the street, sort of thing. Wow, you've lost a lot of weight, way to go, sort of thing. And I understand that those people's intent
Right.
is to be complimentary, but yelling across the street or stopping in the middle of the street and focusing on the weight.
Mm.
And I don't know if it has to do with because I'm female and there is so much emphasis on women's weight in North American culture.
Mm-hmm.
But when they do that, they are not eliciting the response that they think they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because I walk away being annoyed or like it
Right.
hits me not in a positive way.
That the meaning of their communication, while their intention might be A, the meaning came out as B.
Yes. And I think that the words we use, the way in which we speak to people is just crucial. It's just crucial.
Yeah. The meaning of communication is in the response elicited regardless of intention. Any other thinks about that? Thank you, Maria, for sharing that.
Michael has his hand up.
Go ahead, Michael.
Muted.
Christina, sorry.
No.
Now it's just getting confusing.
Christina, want to talk?
No, I just told you that you were muted.
Oh, I was muted. Okay. That's my name, Pearl Muter. Pearl Muter.
That's your last name. Yeah.
Probably should be Muter. Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, I just picked up various connections, a book by someone, I forgot the psychologist's name, on emotional intelligence. This is a new concept for me, emotional intelligence. But this is a field of psychology that is growing. And it's very young. And it's really getting down to the nitty-gritty of cognitive therapy and paying really, really close, like you say, words. So it's a blessing, and it really correlates the handmaiden to this. One of the handmaidens to this, obviously, is religion, is spirituality. Yeah. The word. What's the word today? And what are the words today that reinforces, the direction that I think we're doing together, which is, again, reinforcing what Hugh said.
Thank you, Michael. And Jack, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if the world's response to any action towards ourselves was just thank you?
Say that again. That was very short but profound.
Can you imagine what the world would be like if humanity's response to whatever was happening to them was thank you?
That's quite an idea. That's quite a thought. There was a quote that I shared yesterday that was about this, about that those who can find, it was those who have gratitude find comfort in everything. Right? Those who have gratitude, and it's what you're saying, Jack. Can you imagine what it would be like if the whole world was coming from a place of gratitude? Well, okay, I can't, there's like a little soapbox there, and I can't not stand up on this little soapbox, so pardon me.
Could you repeat the quote one more time that you gave, Brian?
Those who have gratitude find comfort in everything. And the second half of the quote is those who complain find comfort in nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
My God, is that true?
It's so true. So, Jack, to your point of can we imagine what the world would be like if everyone had this sense of thank you? And here I'm up on the little soapbox and I can say the following. I can't control how the whole world acts. I can't control how you act. I can control one and only one being, and that's, to bring it back to Alex's point, and that's with a lot of practice, to bring it to what Hugh was talking about. I can do that, and it's going to not be easy. But can I spend today, and challenge accepted, I'm going to, can I do this day the way that Jack asks that we try?
Yeah, doing it just once or twice, it's amazing. It stays with you.
Wait. It's that simple, Jack? We can just do it once or twice and we can consider that we get an A even though we've only done twice? And sure. Yes, the answer is yes, sure, of course. Because if we have gratitude 2 times more today than we did yesterday, that's infinite.
Yeah.
I'll be with you in a second, Michael. I'm trying to do a little moment of silence.
Oh, I hear you.
I want to do a moment of silence to stare down into everybody until they submit and decide that they want to have gratitude today also. Okay, so I'm almost done with my stare down.
Yeah, gratitude, what is really real is divine grace.
Yeah. But we think of divine grace. We think of divine grace as something we have to wait for. And what we're saying right here is, no, we can bring about divine grace by having gratitude. That's a beautiful thing. Go, Christina, go.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I've been thinking exactly about this, what Jackson brought up about gratitude. And I think to live in gratitude, that is a real virtue. It gives your life something really great. And I think it's something we need to practice. And this is something I have been missing in our services. You know, we have 1 minute of prayer, lifting up what we have on our hearts. But I would like to add another minute in our services, maybe at the end, where we lift up what we are grateful for. A minute of thankfulness to remind ourselves of everything we have. And I mean, it's a way of practicing gratefulness. I would like to add that, if
I
it's
like
possible.
that. I like how you also just elected yourself onto the liturgy committee and made a proposal. Let me just say
I have to say, is this really a liturgy to have 1 minute of silence? Well, I don't think I wouldn't call that liturgy.
Liturgy? Yeah, I think so. I think what gets done during a service is the liturgy. And I thank you for this idea, Christina. And you know what I'm going to do? Hold on one moment. Hold on. Please hold. There we go. Give me one more second. Folks, I want to try something new we've not done before. And I'm going to put this clock right here for 1 minute. And I'm going to ask us to sit for 1 minute. There we go. 1 minute timer. So let's take 1 minute And if your mind goes to something else, so be it. But let's just take 1 minute of time to think about the things for which we are grateful. I gotcha, Aunt Ellen. Thank you
This
for
is
that minute.
something that I do every Friday night.
So tell us
When I
about it.
light my candles, I thank God for all the goodness in my life,
Amen.
everything that has been provided for me. But this is something I do every week.
Yeah. What a wonderful thing to do, to take a minute of gratitude. That's at the heart of religion, of course. Of course. And to go back to that quote, those who have gratitude find comfort. Those who complain find discomfort. It's simple. I want to add in a go ahead, Joe. I've heard myself speak enough.
Okay.
I was just gonna share my thing before it got stolen because a couple of my things already like, oh, there goes that one, there goes that one, there goes that one.
Joe,
So, yes.
Are you still trying to get an A?
Yes, yes, I am because I'm still working on the 70% only thing. So, the emotional thing, and in particular, anger at the right person, at the right time, the right amount, and the right reason.
Oh my God! Did you say that way too fast? Can you slow that down?
Sure.
She doesn't want it to get stolen.
Well, I use it with all emotions. You have presented it specifically from Aristotle with anger, but it's so anger or an emotional feeling at the right person, at the right time, in the right amount, and for the right reason. I had to watch 4 games of 10-year-old softball. And there was a lot of reasons to be not appropriate. And this saved me. This saved me because I kept thinking to myself, Joe, it's not the right time. Mm-mm. And I could feel within my body, you got way too much anger for what's going on here. Don't open your mouth yet. Yeah. And I didn't even know who I was angry with. So how would I know which right person it is? And all I knew was the reason was that there was a bunch of anger around me because a lot of people were reacting to this thing or that call or this call, and I could just feel it. Like it just was rising. So you know what I did? I gave myself a timeout and I
You gave yourself a timeout and you went for a walk? As opposed to getting, and this brings us right back to where Hugh brought us from the beginning, was that between stimulus and response, instead of reaction, we can give ourselves a timeout. What a wild idea. If you want, we could even combine things, and after a stimulus, we can choose the response of gratitude, find some reason to be grateful, but that might be like for advanced players only. I'm not sure how that goes. Thank you, Joe, for sharing that. Yes, Carol.
You're welcome.
I'd like to go back to this idea of gratitude. I have a practice. Every night I get up in the middle of the night and I write down 20 blessings of the day before.
Oh,
Why do you do this after you've already been in bed?
I'm at an age where I get up in the middle of the night anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So I know I won't be interrupted.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Nothing's going to happen. This is my most intense prayer time.
That is a great idea. I have
awesome.
a mentor of mine named Carl, and if you can train yourself to do this, I have found this to be a wonderful practice. Is if you wake up sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning and it's not that you wake up, it's like you have been awakened at 3 in the morning. Carl taught me this trick and I've used it, and it's hard to keep in mind because it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you've just been awoken. But if 3 in the morning I've been awoken, I say either out loud or to myself, "Okay, spirits, apparently you've needed my attention. What is it that you need me to know that could not wait until the morning?"
Yeah, right.
And it's an amazing cognitive shift where it's like, oh, I guess something needs my attention at this time. All right. I like your idea as well, Carol. And guys, I don't know that my dog has ever needed to go in and out of the door as much as he has today. So I apologize.
He needs your attention.
Just kidding.
I think he likes the conversation. That's what.
Yeah.
And if you join me at 2 o'clock weekdays for meditation, Sparky is often the co-instructor. He's the best meditator that I know. Yeah, Shmuley.
One thing that all this conversation brings to my mind is there was a time that we were talking about doing good things to make this world better, and I started saying, well, everybody's looking for heaven, and heaven is here. You can make heaven here, and I'll never forget you just going like this. It's like that. You can make this life either heaven or hell, if you use gratitude.
Can you say that again? Because it sounds vaguely like an important thing we want to keep in mind.
That you can make heaven or hell to yourself here if you use gratitude or not.
Right.
And I'm tying that with what you're saying about, hey, spirits, what do you want of me that you woke me at 3 o'clock? It's like, yeah, it's the paradoxicality of life. You said, okay, life, you're bringing this. I not necessarily like it, but thank you, because you're asking me to do something good, of course. Because if I act negatively, it's going to bring me hell. So what good you want me to bring?
Thank you, Shmuley. I want to put a footnote in. Yes, and there are also situations that are untenable. There are things that are done where we cannot turn it in. You can't just turn that frown upside down, It just, you can't always do that. And it can be a cruelty to ourselves when we forget, oh my goodness, this one.
Right.
Okay, not to be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. Yes, we should look for gratitude, but if something really shitty has just happened, yeah, have gratitude, but also nurse your wounds.
Right. That's probably what life wants you to do.
I think so.
When you're reminded of something shitty that you have done.
Or that has happened to us.
Take care of yourself.
Amen.
Because you didn't really know what you were doing.
Yeah, and forgiving ourselves. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, my practice has been that when I put my head on the pillow, I review all the things that I'm grateful for, and I don't make it very far.
Oh, because you fall asleep.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. And I wish everyone gets to sleep as easily, and I know for some of us it is not as easy to knock off and fall asleep. It's a rough. All right, what else have you learned in? Let's take a break and liturgic pivot, and move our thoughts to thoughts and prayers to those who are in need of light and love. And Maria, if you would be so kind.
This is the light and love list for today. Greg, Rita S., Art Gardner, Rob B., Beverly K., Sheridan H., Randall M., Chris Meyer, Sharon S., Tim Brooks, and Karen K. If there is another person in our community we can offer light and love to, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list in the clubhouse. And for the people who aren't named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
And I would add to that list Karen and Bonnie, who lost Mike just yesterday morning. So let's take 1 minute at a time. Thank you for that. I'm going to Alex. We're going to go into small groups unless somebody has another piece of something that they want to share that they learned, because I have an experimental thing I'd like to try. But if there's somebody who has something else that they want to share that they learned from Saturday services, they're okay. We're going to try something different. Alex, if I always feel like 2001 Space Odyssey, Hal, prepare the pod bay doors. Like, Alex, if you would prepare us to go into small groups of 4 people, what I'd like you to do in your group of small people, and let's say my small group was Anne, Rob, and Bruce, and me. Let's say that was my group. What I want every person to do is just go one at a time in your group and say, Anne, what I wish for you today is gratitude and light and love. And Bruce, what I wish for you today is gratitude and light and love. And Rob, what I wish for you today is gratitude. And you can change, you don't have to use the same words for each person, but I want us to take a minute to bless each other, to take a minute to give each other love. And if you don't want to be here, you don't have to join a small group for that. You can stay behind. Alex, if you would open up rooms for 4 minutes, for 3 minutes plus an extra 1, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay, groups are now open.
And if you don't want to join a group, you can just stay back here with me. Yeah.
What do we want? I missed how many minutes you want me to go. 3 plus 1?
Yeah, so let's just do 2 plus 1. I'm feeling like it was a very short assignment.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Jim. Glad to see you. And Candace and Jackson and Wendy and Sari and Jean and Roberta. And this is always that time where we got to take an extra moment because let me check in with my friends who are up on Facebook and see if any of them have any comments that I've missed. Somebody asked me for my Discord. I don't know what that even means. And we got to... Oh, there's Chad and Lisa. Chad and Lisa say, why is that not showing up? There it is. Chad and Lisa say, good morning, Chad and Lisa, watching from Twitch, not signed into Zoom, just relaxing and watching today. Have a great day. Chad and Lisa, I thank you guys for that. And I did tell people, oh, Chad, Lisa, can you do me a favor? I got a message from evac_madmac11. And I don't know how to respond to that person to take them up on the help because I don't really understand my Twitch yet. So if you guys have the ability to help me to get in touch with evac_madmac11, who wants to help, I would appreciate that. And Chad and Lisa, it was so lovely to see you guys yesterday in your zero gravity recliners sitting right next to each other. I did tell everyone before the service about how it was weird to see you not in your usual red chairs, but to see you exactly next to each other. It was comforting, just delightful. Okay. Oh, and Alex?
Yes.
I can't do, I don't know that you, this is a me problem. I think this one's not a you problem. I can't get my document camera up anymore. I don't know what I did wrong. Oh. And I lost my video then. So there's me. But I lost my document camera, Alex. It's my doing.
Try unplugging and replugging. Does that straighten it out for you?
We're gonna find out. Oh. If you're watching on video, you might fast forward this part. We got another minute until people come back. Oh my goodness. I have to add a second camera in. I don't. Does that do it?
So the rooms will be back in about 55 seconds.
But I haven't fixed my problem yet.
I'm sorry.
I just made it worse.
Oops.
Oh, ding dang it. All right. Well enough.
The reason why I joined this group rather than a group was because I had my iPad with me in my bedroom, and I was changing shirts, and I thought, I don't want people to see me.
That's a whole different show.
Yes.
Well, I thank you. Some people might feel like they got cheated out of something that they wish they had seen. It's. But thank you, Jim. Glad you're here. All right, welcome back. Welcome back, people. Okay, that was the first time we've done that.
Yeah. It was great.
What did you learn? What came out of that? Because I didn't get to have that experience. I wasn't where you were. Go ahead, Shmuley.
It was so beautiful because we did exactly what you said. We wished each other gratitude and then peace, love, happiness. And there was a point that we just stood there, silence. Yeah. And I said, I can feel the unity here.
No, it's
and
nice.
Then when we were called to break up from the group, I said, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here. You know.
What lessons did you get out of doing that? What came out of that for you? What moral, is there a moral to the story? Yeah, Mike.
Nice. I was in that group. The moral for me was cooperation.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's the headline.
I'll take one or two other comments. What do you got? Yeah,
I called it compacted compassion connection.
Oh, the 3 C's: compacted compassion connection. Thank you, Eileen. Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, that I realize that I have not reminded myself how much gratitude I have for my life.
Amen.
Add one more C, community.
And community.
Yeah, this was one of we've been doing small groups so often that, there was nobody I didn't know already in my small group this time around. There's no introduction necessary. This was a gathering of connected people.
Isn't that lovely? And I'm sure for some people it was new. I know we lost some people who just like, I'm out of here. This is not for me.
Yeah, is that right?
I'm not mentioning Aunt Ellen, but I'm just you might have heard her on the way out say, "That's enough." She's got that great husky voice. She said, "That's enough for me. I'm out." So, that's fine.
Yeah. We only had 3 people, and that's what I said. Exodus. They booked.
Just what? It's all right, folks. I'm gonna wrap us up. I'm going to thank all of you. We're going to continue with the second hour. Let me end the broadcast. So wave goodbye to the people who are watching at home and the people who watch it afterwards. Thank you all for joining us.